attention, I'll call this meeting of the County Commissioners to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could just remain standing for a moment. I have a moment of silence. Just recently heard that someone that most of us know here in town, Norman Scott, passed away just a couple hours ago, so we keep his family in our prayers. Thank you very much. First of all, we have some consent items. We have our regular session minutes dated July the 22nd, 2025. We have our liquor minutes dated July 22nd, 2025. We have our closed session minutes dated July the 22nd, 2025. We have approval for a blacktop contract from the Roads Division. And we have Commissioner's Office purchasing approval, Civic Plus software. Any questions?
No, sir.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve all 5 of the consent items as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Then we have 4 liquor applications. Rock Hall Lions Club is applied for beer, wine, and liquor for August the 9th, 2025. Due to the fact that this is a alcohol application, it's in need of a public hearing, and although we have a pretty slim bunch tonight, and as in the audience, we'll allow this to be that public hearing. Anyone that wants to comment for or against this application, feel free to do so at this time. There being none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the special Class C per diem liquor license application for the Rock Hall Lions Club.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Then we have the Animal Care Shelter for Kent County has applied for a beer and wine and liquor license for August the 16th, 2025. Same thing goes with that as far as the public hearing. If anyone would like to speak for or against this, feel free to do so at this time. There being none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make another motion to approve the special Class C per diem liquor license application for the Animal Care Shelter for Kent County.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Then we have St. John and Sacred Heart Church has applied for beer only for August the 17th, 2025. Same thing goes with anyone that would like to comment for or against the application, feel free to do so.
I do have a question. When this was presented, the signature for the owner of the premises was at the wrong place. Has that been corrected? If not, then the motion should be contingent upon correcting that. It's just a ministerial act, but you would want to have your motion on correcting the signature page for the owner of the premises.
They signed on the wrong line.
Yeah.
So technically, they are to amend the application, yes.
I don't have any problem with that.
Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the special Class C per diem liquor license application for St. John and Sacred Heart Church, contingent upon receiving the statement of owner, authorized agent, signature page properly signed.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Then we have the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 228 has applied for beer only for September the 7th, 2025. Same thing goes with this. Anyone that wants to comment for or against this application, feel free to do so at this time. There being none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the special class C per diem liquor license application for the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 228.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. All right, now we've taken care of all the liquor.
I'll drink to that.
Oh, yeah.
Now we have the public
Now we
hearing.
have public hearings. Tommy, I want,
Yes.
guess, turn them over to you.
Thank you,
You
Mr.
want-
President. We have three public hearings this evening. Two are on legislation. The first one is CHR 5/2025 ethics. And this is necessary because your county ethics law has to mirror the state ethics law and the state requirements. And the state of Maryland changed their requirements, and that necessitated us changing our requirements. The second matter is CHR 6/2025 Administration of Government. It's been many years since the commissioners have received a pay increase. This would do that, but it will not be effective until the next term. So you're not giving yourselves a pay increase. This would be for the next Board of County Commissioners. And both of these, the record will be open until Friday, so you'll vote to pass or reject these at the next legislative day. And the third matter for public hearing is an amendment to the comprehensive water and sewage plan, so we can account for the new Millington area wastewater treatment plant and the development that is expected to occur once we have that capacity and have that plant. So with your permission, I will read into the record the notice of the first hearing, which will be CHR 5/2025. And County Administrator, do we need to move for legislative session for this? I don't think we,
I think we just usually move to go into a
public hearing, right, for this. I see, it says legislative day on the agenda, but I think we can just move into public hearing.
Right.
So if you would entertain a motion to go into public hearing.
Make a motion that we go into several public hearings here.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Okay.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
We'll take up first CHR 5/2025, introduced by Ronald H. Fithian, President of the Board of County Commissioners for Kent County, Maryland. This is an act to repeal and reenact with amendments Chapter 29 Ethics of the Code of Public Local Laws of Kent County. The hearing will be held on August 5th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the Commissioners' Hearing Room, R. Clayton Mitchell Jr., Kent County Government Center, 400 High Street, Chestertown, Maryland. The agenda for the meeting will be published online 24 hours in advance of the meeting at kentcounty.com/government. Citizens are encouraged to participate in the public hearing process. If you require communication assistance, please contact the County Commissioner's Office at 410-778-4600 and press 4, or visit Maryland Relay at mdrelay.org no later than noon on Friday, August 1st, 2025. A complete copy of the proposed legislative bill is available in the Commissioner's Office, 400 High Street, Chestertown, Maryland, Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. This is by order of the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, by Sandra M. Blackiston, Clerk, and it was published in the Kent County News on July 24th, 2025. Madam County Administrator, is there anything that you wish to add to what I stated earlier about the purpose of the bill?
I think you did a good job summarizing this. We are mirroring the state law. The state has reviewed this and has approved our update, which mirrors their law, so we haven't deviated in any substantial way. So I have nothing further to add to that.
Is there any, did you, obviously, they made changes and we had to add those changes to ours. So are there any major changes?
No, there are a few nuances about conflicts of interest. They have to address exactly what conflicts of interest are. And we have to mirror or exceed state requirements. We've simply mirrored them. Financial disclosures, we are stating
that
exactly which you have been doing anyhow. So there were really, there's some
Nothing major.
lobbying, correct? Yeah, there's they specifically address lobbying and what you can and can't accept from lobbyists as gifts. So it's a lot of clarifications, a lot of tweaking of what we already had anyway. It's a lot longer, it's
Right.
very wordy, it's
Right.
using the state legal language, but otherwise, there's nothing substantive that's going to change our operations.
Each time the state gets a hold of it, the size of the ordinance gets larger. They add more and more words to it. I would note, we should, for the record, indicate that the letter from the State Ethics Commission dated January 16th, 2025, giving their approval of our proposed ordinance, is made part of the record for this public hearing, part of the file.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to close the
Well,
public
is there
hearing.
anybody in the audience wishes to speak?
Nobody?
Surprising.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing for Code Home Rule Bill 5-2025 Ethics, and for the record to remain open until the close of business day on Friday, August 8th, 2025.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
And Mr. President, I would like to go back into the public hearing to discuss the other matters on the agenda here.
Very good.
This would be 6/2025. Next. This was also.
Wait, we need a second.
Oh, yeah, we
Sorry.
take a motion, take a vote, yeah.
Second.
Need a motion and I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We're back in.
This was also introduced by President Fithian. It's an act to amend Chapter 3 Administration of Government of the Code of Public Local Laws of Kent County, Maryland, for the purpose of increasing the compensation of the county commissioners by repealing Chapter 3 Administration of Government, Article 1, General Provisions, Section 3-2, Terms and Compensation, and reenacting with amendments herein. And the same notice that I just read with respect to 5/2025 is also in the notice for 6/2025. So we'll just adopt that by reference. And we'll note that a copy of the proposed bill is available in the Commissioner's office for inspection Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30. And this notice is by order of the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, by Sonder and Blackiston Clerk, and it was published in the Kent County News on July 24th, 2025. Again, this changes the compensation for the county commissioners. Currently, the county commissioners receive a salary of $20,000 per year. This would increase that to $30,000 per year, but it would not be effective until December 1st, 2026. You, as sitting commissioners, cannot vote yourself a pay increase. Any pay increase you do would not be effective until the next board takes office.
And it's been over a decade since this has been reviewed. Staff did look at several of our surrounding jurisdictions and other like counties in the state of Maryland to make a recommendation for this increase.
Yeah, it was actually 3 terms ago because the prior one took effect December 12th, 2014. So there'll be a 12-year difference from pay increase to pay increase.
Any questions? We have to make a motion and move it forward. If we-
Well, you want to see if there's anybody in the audience that wishes to speak.
No one signed the testimony law for any of the 3 hearings this evening.
So I'd like to make a motion to close this public hearing for Code and Home Rule Bill 6-2025, Administration of Government, and for the record to remain open until the close of business on Friday, August 8th, 2025.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
Now, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to open it up, another public hearing.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. President, this is for the Millington Water and Wastewater Treatment Plant Comprehensive Water and Sewerage Plan Amendment. And this involves a resolution, not an ordinance or a code provision. So you can vote on this, and it's on the agenda to vote on this, adopting the resolution at the conclusion of the public hearing. So I will read in to the record the notice of the public hearing, and again, because it's expected that you will be voting on this tonight, the record will close at the close of the public hearing. Pursuant to the requirements of the Environment Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, specifically Title 9, Subtitle 5, Section 9-503, the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, August 5th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the Commissioners' Hearing Room, R. Clayton Mitchell Jr., Kent County Government Center, 400 High Street, Chestertown, Maryland, 21620. The purpose of the hearing is to review and receive comments on the proposed Millington Wastewater Treatment Plant Water and Sewage Comprehensive Plan Amendment. The county has applied for state and federal funding to design and construct a new county wastewater treatment facility in Millington, replacing the existing facility. This project will provide capacity for existing and new development in Millington and the 301 Economic Development Corridor. The county is proposing an amendment to the 2018 Comprehensive Water and Sewerage Plan to include the project as a condition of funding. The agenda for the meeting will be published online at kentcounty.com/government 24 hours in advance of the meeting. Citizens are encouraged to participate in the public hearing and may offer comments by attending in person or submitting written comments. If you require communication assistance, please contact the County Commissioner's Office at 410-778-4600 and press 4, or visit Maryland Relay at mdrelay.org no later than noon on Friday, August 1st, 2025. This is by order of the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, Sandra M. Blackiston, Clerk, and it was published in the Kent County News on July 24th, 2025, and again on July 31st, 2025. And I believe our Deputy Director of Public Works is here to briefly present on this issue.
Good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening.
So I have the amendment that we're requesting. So the Department of Public Works is requesting an amendment to the 2018 Kent County Comprehensive Water and Sewerage Plan, Section 4.5.5, Millington, to include the proposed plan for replacement and relocation of the Millington Wastewater Treatment Facility. The Kent County Comprehensive Water and Sewerage Plan included future growth planning identified in the Town of Millington's Comprehensive Plan for Development and Annexation of the area between the town corporate limits and the Route 301 Maryland 291 interchange, as well as the future annexation of the property north of Millington Road. The proposed growth plan is intended to provide the extension of public services, including water and sewer services, to promote area economic development. Initial investigations by the town looked at conveyance of wastewater for treatment to the town of Sudlersville. Concerns about the cost and implementation due to the number of growth agencies or government agencies that would be involved resulted in the county providing funding to perform an alternative study to construct a new county regional wastewater treatment facility to replace the Millington treatment facility. The new facility would be located in the proposed development area to reduce conveyance costs and would serve the existing town and county sewer service areas in addition to new development. The proposed discharge permit to the Chester River would replace and be downstream of the current discharge permit for the Millington wastewater treatment facility. The new plant would be constructed to provide higher quality state enhanced nutrient removal, or ENR, standards and eliminate the flood damage risks associated with the Millington plant. The proposed regional wastewater treatment plant would be located on a 6.6 acre tract adjacent to Maryland Route 291 It will be constructed with an initial treatment capacity of 350,000 gallons per day. The wastewater treatment facility will be owned and operated by Kent County and provide service to the town of Millington under an intermunicipal service agreement. The existing town treatment plant will be demolished and a new flood-protected pump station will be constructed to divert wastewater flow to the new treatment facility. The remaining property is intended to be converted to parkland by the town.
And it's correct that the town of Millington is aware of this and is on board with this,
Correct.
because this new plant to be operated by the county will replace the town of Millington plant and will serve not just the municipality of Millington, but will serve the surrounding unincorporated areas of the county.
Correct. I have nothing else to add.
Do we have any questions?
No.
Perfect. Do I do anything?
Anybody in the audience have anything to say?
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Got a motion, a second to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Don't go anywhere because the next item is related to
Right.
this.
Okay.
If I may, Mr. President, so the next item on the agenda is Resolution 2025-11, and that would be to adopt the plan, which was the subject of the public hearing that we just had. Staff recommends approval.
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a
I'll
motion.
make a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-11, Millington Water and Wastewater Treatment Plant Comprehensive Water and Sewage Plan Amendment.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it. Now, this, question, there was an issue about drawing the, water and sewer, the comprehensive outline of what falls into the waste, to the sewage treatment, comprehensive water and sewer plan. There, especially those areas where those couple distribution centers are scheduled to go. And there was a question about all of that property was not in the area. Do you know whether?
I would have to defer to Dan
Dan.
I
Mattson,
think Dan-
unless,
Yeah,
Okay.
as I recall, and I don't want to speak for Dan and Mike, but as I recall, they were looking at these things separate because they didn't want one to hold up another.
that was my understanding as well.
And they came up with a plan to try to get this done expediently as possible. So by doing them separately, it didn't cause one to hold up another. So I think they're on it, and I think they have a good plan to get everything done as quickly as possible.
Okay. You want to do the next one?
Yes, 2025-10, this deals with the Midshore Regional Landfill, the current landfills in Caroline County. This is something that is being built out over time. We had some cells built around the time the landfill opened, and now it's time to build out and open some new cells. And so now we will be building cell number 5 and cell number 1. I don't know why we didn't do cell number 1 first. That was a question I had, but I think.
I do know
cell-
the answer to
Cell number
that.
4, I think, was the one that went first, or
And-
something.
Right, it had to do with proximity and location on the landfill when they designed it. 1 and 5 are beside each other, which is oddly the last 2 that will be built.
So to fund this, the plan is to do a bond issuance within the next month or so, and this resolution will authorize that bond issuance. Staff has reviewed, and I've gone over this with bond counsel. The county administrator has also reviewed, and staff recommends approval.
Should we just bring up the fact that this is also going to extend I mean, that we've talked about this, but this is going to extend
The life of
the
the-
life of
Yes.
this landfill.
Right.
We're hoping 10 to 12 years.
We're estimating
Right.
12 years.
Right.
Because there was so much more airspace than what we had realized when they first located the landfill and the
Which
current
will
site.
then delay the opening of the next landfill in
Correct.
Queen Anne's County, which will hopefully delay
Yes.
the next after that in Kent County.
All correct.
So,
Now, I'm assuming that Talbot had some issues and Caroline had some issues, that's all been
Everything's
taken
been
care of.
resolved, and
About
as
the
it happens, all
funding.
4 or all 3 of the other counties have already signed this,
Okay.
a similar resolution.
Any questions?
no, sir.
If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-10, issuance by the Maryland Environmental Services of its revenue bonds to fund costs of cell number 5 and cell number 1 of the Midshore 2 Regional Landfill and related costs and matters relating thereto as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Shelley, looks like you're up.
Okay. So, we've spoken about the spongy moths before, or gypsy moths, and the Maryland Department of Agriculture does surveys every year, and they asked for additional surveys this year because they noted some areas of concern. So we have sent the letter that you previously signed saying that Kent County is willing to participate. And a response letter was recently received from the project manager of the Forest Pest Management. And he is requesting confirmation of participation at a minimum of $1,800. And what this gets us is $18 per survey, 100 surveys. This does not include, however, funds that would be needed for aerial suppression spraying if it's determined that that is necessary. So,
Is that the 3,600?
so you had previously approved $3,600 from contingency funds for the project. So the included letter indicates that we are interested in participating at a minimum of $1,800 worth.
Okay.
So staff's requesting approval of the letter.
I make a motion to approve the confirmation letter as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, next up, we have 2 requests for interest waivers. They are different in nature, but both really boils down to the same type of an issue. Both are approximately in the amount of $500. I have the exact figures if you're interested. The first one is as a result of an SSTAT error. That is a state office, not a county office. They did the wrong address. It was indicated in SSTAT that it was a different address than the actual address. The second one was a banking error. Generally, in the past, when it has not been Kent County staff error as a result of either, for any reason, the address being wrong, payment not being received properly, et cetera, if it is not county staff error, waivers have not been granted. Neither of these cases are county staff errors, and we can discuss each one in detail if you would prefer. But staff recommendation is to deny the waivers because it fell outside of the control of county.
And there's definitely no fault from what I read on the county.
No, definitely no fault.
And it's consistent for us to deny a request such as this if we choose to, when there's no fault of the county.
Correct.
Any other questions?
The one was a SStat mistake. What would you say the other one was?
Banking error.
Oh,
I
bank.
think there was a fraud alert placed on it, and so it didn't go, and, I mean, but it had nothing to do with us.
Unfortunately for the taxpayer, it's probably highly unlikely that either the state or the bank will do anything for the taxpayer regardless of the fact that they made the
mistake,
error. Yeah.
I think it's important that we stay with the county policy of unless we're at fault for some reason, that we continue the process as we've done in the past, which is to deny the requests for the waiver of the interest fees.
Then I'll
on
entertain a
both.
motion.
I'll make a motion that we deny the request as presented because the county had no fault.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it.
And finally, our favorite discussion these days, Kent County Middle School. At the last meeting 2 weeks ago, there was a robust conversation between the three of you, the superintendent, and several of the Board of Education members regarding funding of the middle school possibilities, the blueprint funding. There was a very in-depth conversation regarding a letter to be sent to the state. In the meantime, there's been a lot of research done, even in our own finance office, regarding the numbers. The superintendent had requested, what is our number? What could we fund? And I think that's a good place to start regarding a letter to the state. So Pat is here and can go over some numbers for you, unless you would like to start the conversation some other way.
I would like to invite the superintendent to come up. She can hear clearly what's being said, and maybe even the president of the board if they'd like to come forward. And I'd be curious to see Pat's numbers and see how everything falls out.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Get a number. Get a number. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
No, so I'll just pull up a chair.
Okay.
Stay.
There we go. There's enough room.
We're good. It's a big table. And that, just for the record, that microphone is very sensitive, so it'll pick all three of you up very clearly. You don't have to move it around or, I mean, you can if you want.
Okay, so there's been a lot of conversation about these numbers, but we thought at the beginning of the conversation it might be good for a recap. So just to, I guess, go back and talk about the challenge, there's really two. There's the blueprint and then there's the middle school. So if we start with the middle school, just to refresh everybody's memory, the total cost of the project
Oh,
is...
there's actually the blueprint, the middle school, and the rest of the county.
Correct, yes, let's not, yes,
That is true.
absolutely. So the total cost...
Include Wharton Elementary School.
Yes, lots of moving pieces. But to focus, I guess, on the Kent County Public Schools ones, the total cost of the middle school is $64.4 million. The county share is $30.278 million, which is about 47%, which is a little bit less because we got $8 million from a bond bill, which made up about 12% of the cost. And the state was going to pick up $26,140,000. So for us, the challenge for the county to finance this project, the debt service at an estimated 5% interest rate, which is kind of in the neighborhood now, but not quite sure what it might be when we go out to bond, for 30 years would cost the county just under $2 million. It would be $1,969,000 to be exact. So our challenge would be to fund the debt service for that school. And the second challenge that we have is the blueprint. As we've said, I guess in FY26, we had about $3.3 million in new money. We have $2.5 million in additional funding that's going to be required for the blueprint in FY27. So if things stay pretty much constant, which we think they will, and we were to have, approximately 3.3 million in new money again next year, 2.5 million would go to fund the blueprint, and we'd have about 800,000 to fund the rest of the county. So that would be the challenge on that front. And the blueprint, just to kind of give an idea, over the next, between FY '26 and FY '30, it's going up 8.9 million. So there's 2 years where it's going up 2.5 million, and I think, you have a schedule attached there if you want to see the growth rate. I think it was 0.8 was the required increase this year, then 2.5, then 1.4, 1.7, and 2.5. So that's kind of, the challenges fiscally. So if we take a look at what are the opportunities. So one of the biggest opportunities is that we have some debt service that's existing that's going to fall out. And you have a schedule there, the second page back, that shows those projects. So by 2030, we're going to have $947,000 worth of debt service payments fall off for debt that will be paid off. The largest one is the community center. That's costing us $584,000 annually. So, with that debt falling out, if, we were to maintain a level spending pattern, some of this other debt could be absorbed. The second funding opportunity, as we talked about during the budget, is we raised the income tax rate. So we raised it from 3.2 to 3.3. And we earmarked that money for the middle school project. Now, that money towards the construction wouldn't be much, but if we took that money and put it towards the debt service, that would be $675,000 annually once it phases in. So with the income tax, it takes 2.5 fiscal years to collect 1 tax year worth of money. So we implemented this tax increase for tax year 26. So by fiscal year 28, we'll be receiving the whole annual amount of $675,000. So I think this year we only got $255,000, and it'll keep increasing until we get up to roughly $675,000. The last another funding opportunity is we have $13 million in fund balance that's earmarked for capital projects. Now, we have a lot of projects on the horizon in the 5-year plan, one being the middle school. We also have public safety facilities. We also have court facilities. So, we have a multitude of projects that may compete for those dollars. And then the last funding opportunity, which is everybody's least favorite, would be to raise property taxes. If we were to raise property taxes 1 cent, it would generate $372,000. So that's kind of a summary of where dollars might come from for this. And, one of them is, they're both really going to be recurring, because if we borrow the money, it's going to be debt service. So that's kind of a summary of the dollars. Not sure if you have any questions or if there's.
So Pat, the debt service, and once the income tax kicks in of almost, $675, and if we were to utilize some of the 13 million that we have in the fund balance, depending on how much we elected to use from the fund balance, are we there?
So, the 947 and the 675 will get us to $1,622,000. We need to get to $1,969,000.
That's for the 32 million.
30, yeah, and I apologize, there's a misprint on this. It should be 30,278,000.
Okay, so that's the 30 million.
Yes.
Not including if and what we could take out of the fund balance.
Correct,
Correct.
correct.
Okay.
Right, and so to give you an idea of if we were to pay cash for part of the project.
Right.
So if we were to pay, for every $1 million, the debt service would go down by $65,000 a year. So 1 million would drop at 65,000, 3 million would drop at 195,000, 5 million would drop it, 325,000.
Right.
We
Right.
keep doing the math. So if there were, that would also be a way to decrease the annual debt service payments.
So without raising taxes, am I looking at this correctly on, and this is a question, with the debt service to come off, the income tax money that's going to be coming in at 675, and if we were to use 5 million of the 13 million of our fund balance, would we have the money to make the annual payment for 30 years?
We'd be there, yeah. We'd be very close. I mean, you'd be tens of thousands short. So, I mean, I think, let's see, it would come out to $1,947,000 and change, and the number we're looking for is $1,969,000.
20,000, roughly.
So it's really close.
It's really close, yeah. We're just about there.
The problem, in my view, and I really appreciate what you did by gathering all this information, because this is very helpful to see if in fact we can afford this or not. What we can afford, in my opinion, is what that blueprint does to us. Because I made some notes, I'm great for making notes. So I'd like to share this just for food for thought. And this has been talked about before, and it's popular with some, it's not popular with others, but it's a reality. And it's something I think the three of us need to strongly consider very, very soon, whether or not we want to even think about this any more than we already have. So since being elected, I have continued, myself as well as my colleagues, have continued to try to identify areas in county spending of tax dollars that could be redirected and that could provide a cost savings. This, in my opinion, is exactly what elected officials should be doing. Raising real estate taxes is not an option I don't think, for any of us up here, and would destroy any economic development, and it certainly will hurt seniors on fixed incomes, and basically make it so expensive for young families, causing them to relocate. For about a year and a half now, we have engaged in numerous conversations regarding shuttering of the current Kent County Detention Center. Certainly not a popular topic of discussion for some. The county currently funds an annual budget of $4.3 million to operate the existing facility, the Kent County Detention Center. The current facility once housed around 70 or so incarcerated individuals. Today, the incarcerated individual population ranges between 22 to 35 incarcerated persons, well below what once was a full facility. State mandates and costs have not decreased, and the building needs major repairs if we plan to continue operations there. As a small county, we sometimes find ourselves thinking outside of the box for services that would provide the same level of care and obligation under state law. Kent County has been involved in numerous conversations about joining an effort of a regional detention center with Queen Anne's and possibly Caroline County. This is still a work in progress with no firm commitment, and funding dollar amounts are unknown. In an effort to achieve significant cost savings, I would like for us to seriously consider, and I'm proposing, the following. We have already developed MOUs with our neighboring counties to house Kent County's incarcerated individuals at a daily per diem rate. To date, 11 inmates have been moved, and the process has been very smooth so far from what Sheriff Hickman has shared. It's time to move them all. maybe by June 30th, 2026, just as a possible date, so we're not rushed into it. This would allow for plenty of time to withdraw from any current contractual agreements without any penalty to the county. The current building should continue to be maintained in its current condition. In other words, we need to keep the lights on. Continue to make maintenance repairs to the building to keep it up to par for potential or future use as needed by the county, and will be the base for operations of a limited correctional facility. All current Kent County Detention Center employees will continue to be gainfully employed with their current benefits and pensions. Several are already eligible for retirement, and we should consider incentive packages. The current staff of 21 would have different duties, which will consist of the following. And I'm trying to be very, very transparent here, because this is a lot about what we've spoken about in shuttering, and I don't like to use the word shuttering anymore. What I would prefer to use is we want to move our incarcerated persons to another facility and get into a contractual agreement while still maintaining these particular duties I'm getting ready to actually mention. The first one is that we will still run an intake, basically like a central booking and temporary holding. We won't hold anyone with a commitment no longer than 6 hours. And a lot of this has already been checked, and the county administrator and I have met with the secretary, and I can't recall his name, of corrections, to confirm that this is all legal. Number two, their duties would include transportation of incarcerated or committed individuals to neighboring detention facilities and required court appearances. Number three, they would have daily supervision of individuals on pretrial release. The last report I saw, there were 22 individuals on pretrial release, which require daily supervision. The last responsibility or duty they would have is they would be responsible, and they are now, for supervision and monitoring of the home detention program. And the last report I saw on that, there's only 3 folks that are on home detention currently. Basically, I'm recommending that we consider moving forward with contracting our incarcerated individuals out to neighboring detention facilities. To begin with, we would see a savings of $786,838 for medical expenses. We no longer need that. And we would see, also see another savings of $172,250 for food services. That is a cost savings of $959,088 annually forever. The cost savings is not John Price's guesswork, but has been confirmed by the county's finance department because I've asked for the numbers. Yes, there will be a cost associated with contractual services, which at $110 on an average, for an average of 28 persons, equals $686,200 yearly. About a $400,000 savings annually. I would suspect that there would be other cost savings that would be identified and found unnecessary out of the $4.3 million budget. Currently, employee salaries and benefits are about $2.5 million annually. The math is pretty simple for me, and I believe others would agree. Realistically, I believe there could be a cost savings of about $1 million or more by offering retirement incentive programs to eligible staff, decreasing the workforce number of 21. We certainly will see a huge cost savings. With this savings, along with the soon-to-be debt service reduction and the designated income tax dollars this year of $250,000, because it hasn't been in place long enough, but eventually it's going to be 700,000 or close to it. Currently, which will increase to about 700,000 annually. Construction of a new school, in my opinion, is doable without burdening our taxpayers. I personally believe our county is a special place, and some believe we are not forward-thinking. This is not true. Lots of good projects and growth are on the horizon. Unfortunately, some folks are just misinformed. I also believe construction of a new school will be a proactive approach now and in the future. Here's the problem, the blueprint. The blueprint mandate is still a financial challenge for every county in the state. But that's another issue that can only be corrected in Annapolis at this point. This board has made numerous efforts and will continue to do so. We are still sending a letter to the state leadership, putting them on notice that Kent County can't afford both initiatives. We support the intentions of the blueprint, but have issue with the ever-increasing cost. We will need to make choices, and for me, a new school would be my choice. The option I just shared is food for thought only. And next year, it is projected that the county will see about 3.3 in new revenue, which Pat has just said. Obviously, we will not be able to fund the blueprint along with the county's other governmental responsibilities without some type of different plan here. So to me, this deserves serious consideration sooner than later. And I believe now is the time to begin to prepare for the future of Kent County by doing what is in the best interest of our citizens. I wanted to be transparent about it. I wanted to put it out there so everyone hears it, because there has been a lot of talk about the county can't afford it. Well, I think the county can afford to build a new school. And it will not burden the taxpayers. And I'm hoping it will be good. It will energize this county and hopefully bring new families here. I could be wrong. I don't know, but I'm hopeful. But, you know, I didn't think we had the money to actually do this either until we really got in the weeds on this and looked at it. But to me, I think it's, and I'm just speaking for myself, I think that it is doable. I do believe that if we're willing to make some changes here and save dollars in other areas and not hurting any of the existing employees, or I don't want anybody to feel like they're being unemployed or not going to have a job. But I truly believe that what I just shared will provide a very big cost savings and help us deal with the blueprint. I also am hopeful that the letter we send to the state will engage some additional conversations and maybe help someone start thinking with a little more thought process. Look, the intentions of the blueprint are good. It's just not affordable. And it's just not Kent County saying this. All counties in the state of Maryland are saying this happens, and I've heard Commissioner Fithian say this time and time again, when you try to paint every county with the same paintbrush, and how true that statement is, it doesn't always work. So I'm just putting it out there to hopefully engage in a more in-depth conversation in hopes of seeing the cost savings that will allow the county to progress, move forward, and not burden our taxpayers. So it's food for thought.
Well,
I do think that the superintendent deserves to know what we think we can do with the middle school at this point, because she's asked for that, I know, at least twice now.
That's what I was hoping to get tonight. When I
Well,
saw it was on the
that's right.
agenda, I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
I can get
So-
a percentage here.
I too agree with the sheriff on we as the elected officials have got to start looking outside the box to try to make this work. I think all three of us, from the very beginning, and I know that there's been a lot of chatter and internet stuff out there, but from the very beginning, all three of us have said we are committed to a new middle school. The state has to come up with their share of funding. That is exactly what we've said, and I am still here saying the same thing. The state has to come up with their share of the funding, okay? I'm not going to burden, personally, I'm not going to burden the taxpayers of this county to where that some people have to leave. We raise taxes on people, and we're going to, the school can be half the size it is now because the exact people that we want to stay are going to have to leave. It's crazy thinking that if we have to raise taxes to build this, that the exact people that we don't want to leave are going to leave. That's what's going to happen. And the people that are going to come in, God bless them, are going to be second homeowners who don't bring children here and don't bring their income tax here. That's what's going to happen. It's happened for my entire life. It's happened my entire life. I'm born and raised here. Something else I think that we need to look into is we've got a school in Rock Hall, 10% full. We've got a school in Wharton, 0% full. We as the school board and the commissioners have to come together, and we got to have a plan, okay? If we're going to build this new middle school, we need X amount of space at Wharton Elementary School. We need X amount of space, well, hopefully no space at Rock Hall. And then we need to come up with a plan of some of the places possibly, I'm just been thinking about this like everybody for the last month. Possibly that's a place that we can move entities that we're renting space for can utilize the buildings that we already own. And not that that doesn't come with a cost, because everything comes with a cost, but hopefully it'll be a cost savings to us. So I agree. I think that, these numbers are getting closer. Personally, backing up to trying to answer your question, which I've been wanting that answer to be totally honest with you. And I think that we owe that to not only the school board, but to the community. When these numbers all started, when the previous superintendent was sitting here, and God bless her, I really truly think that she thought that she had some connections
I think
in,
somebody had convinced her.
convinced her in Annapolis.
I'm sure.
Because she had me convinced that we were going to get somewhere in the neighborhood between 95 and 98% funding for this school. Absolutely, we will build that school. We never, and since then, I think I've been over there 3 or 4 times for funding. And not only there, but every time we see somebody, we're lobbying our delegation, who is 100% behind us and for this project. So, I've been rolling some numbers around in my head, and where I would like to be at, and I don't know but we have to start somewhere, because I think it's going to be a negotiation. I personally, and I have not discussed this with anybody, I'm thinking 80-20. They're going to want to negotiate. I think we can do more than that, but I think that we should start with a number of 80-20. Right now, we're at 47%. So, that's a 27% delta there, that hopefully we can, anything that we can do to lobby these people, the state government, and let them know, look, you've killed us. You have killed us, not only us, but you've killed everybody with Blueprint. And everything's good, whatever you want to say about it. But at the end of the day, we can't afford it. We can't afford $8 million by 2030. They're going to have to come in, and the governor will be sitting here in this seat if that's what it takes. But It's not affordable. So for me, I'm just throwing out the number 80/20. I don't know, because I think that these guys need an answer. I think we owe it to them, to be quite honest with you.
It would certainly be a step in the right direction, that's for sure.
And then I think that there's, sitting down and getting together and saying, hey, there's space at the high school. What has come of all of this is, there's space at the high school. Can the school board be put in the high school? I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying if there's space out there and it can be utilized, to be quite honest with you, when the school board moved to Rock Hall, however many years ago, as much as I was paying attention, I thought it was a great idea for the school board to be at the high school then. Personally, I think that if you want to be a part of the solution, then be in the building where supposedly the problems are at. I mean, I think it's the best case scenario in my very naive mindset. But I think that we're going to have a building in Rock Hall. What are we going to do with Wharton? And then I think that, we can hopefully get together and say, hey, let's put whatever out here and start getting rid of some of the places that we're paying rent on. It's either that or we literally sell the buildings, but I don't know how that works either as far as, so I think that we can, I really do. I think we can get through this. We've all been committed to it. That's my suggestion to her or starting point to her question is an 80-20 split, which I don't think is too unfair. When I hear what Caroline County gets, and personally, I think that we have a lot of similarities with Caroline County. I mean, they're at what, 95 or 92% or something like that.
Something in that ballpark.
And I think that, that us at 80 is a fair spot for this county to be.
I think it's good. I agree, that's probably a starting place.
Right.
We can certainly start with that.
So I had asked for some numbers also. I'm great for asking for things. Regarding what the county in this year's budget is paying for office rent. Some of these we can't move because it just, logistically, it's just not going to work. Like, for instance, the state's attorney's office, we're paying $66,208 annually for that office rent. The election office that I do think can be relocated is $48,371. The health department, I don't think we can move it. It's $171,250. And we have the hot desk that we pay $13,200 for. So it's a total of $302,000 in office rent that the county forks out every year to provide office space for some of those folks. So that is another thing I think we should look at. And if there's room at Wharton or, whatever the county-owned buildings under the control of the school, if we can save $300 and some thousand, then I think we should try to do that. But, so I guess my question at this point, I don't have a problem with the 80-20. I'm optimistic, but I'm not.
Well, what I'm thinking,
I
I'm
hear-
hoping that they're going to come back and say, hey, well, I don't even.
Every little bit helps.
Maybe, right, every little bit helps. That's why I'm saying 80-20. I mean, if you guys, if you want to call it 75-25 or 70-30, wherever you guys, I'm hoping that we'll be able to meet in the middle is what I'm hoping that we can do. I don't. So
The situation you have is the blueprint is a state law, so you are mandated by the state to fund at that level unless
Well, we are,
there's
Tom, but
changes,
you know
yeah.
what? We're also the ones that can say, we can't do it. And nobody else in the state's done it yet, but I bet you somebody's going to be the first one. And if it's gotta be me to vote for that,
Right.
then you know what, maybe that's what
I-
I'll have to do.
I understand, and that's a decision to the board to make. Whether you build a school or renovate a school, that's a decision within your province. You know, the state's not going to tell you, you have to build a school or you have to use an existing one. That's kind of the dilemma you're in, that you got Kerwin that has, you know, not to rehash it, but it's a law.
Well, that's what was
you
said
can't-
when we first started discussing this, that if it wasn't for the blueprint, we'd build a,
Right.
we'd build a school.
You have the money available
But
to do
both
it.
of them together makes it very, very challenging.
That's the situation.
And we've done a lot of talking, but we're right back to that.
Right.
Those two things to come together.
You gotta be able to pay the bills.
Right. If you could get the state to pick up the tab on building the new school, then you have the money available for the blueprint, essentially.
It's hard to, when you know the projection of 3.3 million of new revenues, what's projected for next year, and the construction of the school in the blueprint's 4.5.
Right.
You've either you need some help from the state, or, but there's three options. The state helps you. We really dig deep into the county operations and maybe seriously consider, which I think we should do anyhow. I've always said that's from the very beginning. But I'm just one person. Or the other option is to say no. But so we certainly can't do both. Doesn't mean that we can't provide a level of funding for your educational needs, just not to the blueprint level.
Do you know whether there's a, and this is just off the subject a little bit, but the Warden Elementary School, does it have a real mold problem or something in it?
It has a mold problem. If you recall that one day when we walked through, the one pod section is completely closed off and we don't use it because of it. So that's all part of that ventilation system.
But if you were to use that for a school, or for if you renovated it and put other office space in it, is it something that can be taken care of?
It would cost us, yeah, it would all be part of what we would need to do for any further use. I mean, that's what we have that whole section blocked off. Because
The building is block, the walls are all block, painted
Yeah.
block.
It can absolutely be remediated. We had the contractor come in that was working on the courthouse lobby and walk through with, I was probably Mr. Bish, at the time, it was a while back. And they identified the major concerns, and as far as they were concerned, everything, the concerns could all be remediated.
Oh, that's good, yeah. That's all I asked. I just wanted to know
it's
whether
not beyond.
it wasn't anything that irreparable. All right, well, it was we're right back where we started from.
But I
There's a whole
appreciate
lot of
having a
ifs out there.
target, you know, like I'll continue to do everything I
The
can.
80-20, I mean, if
Yeah.
you,
That at least gives me something to shoot for here. And,
Right.
and I am scheduled to meet with the Secretary of Planning who, the IAC falls under the Secretary of Planning. So I'm scheduled to meet with her next week and.
who is
yeah,
that?
I can't-
Rebecca Flora,
Secretary Flora.
She's Secretary of
State
Plan.
Secretary of Planning.
Planning.
She lives in
I was
Chestertown.
gonna say,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
your neighbor, right?
Yeah.
So I
I hope
am,
you're really good friends with her.
She lives on my
I know she
street.
does.
so I'm scheduled to meet with her, I believe it's next Monday, and Still working with Delegate Grice, Chief of Staff Jackson, to try to coordinate time to meet with the IAC, to try to seek additional funds with them. It's been challenging with everyone's vacation schedules. So I'll continue my best to get every penny we can from the state. Yeah, certainly.
And it's been my understanding that them coming up with more funding isn't something that they haven't done in the past. I think it was a school in Western Maryland, if I'm not mistaken.
That was done legislatively. And so legislation was passed, and they did come up with funding for Garrett County.
Right.
And that's what, we were trying to follow that model, and we have not been successful.
And, I mean, you know, I mean, I'll just ask you, I mean, or ask you when you get done, I mean, if she says, you know, we could do, you know, 70% or 75, you know, I mean,
Yes.
look, we're,
Right,
but-
every dollar
Right.
counts, every
I
dollar
mean,
matters.
that's not a line drawn in the sand, that's just us saying, you know, we're kind of, you know, we got, you know, we're committed to this Millington wastewater project, you know, that's going to be the last price tag I heard on that was 17 million. Now, you know, hopefully there's money out there somewhere for you know, for help with that, but that's, you know, there's just countless projects, you know, the Wharton Elementary School roof, the detention center and sheriff's office roof. I mean, I think that's, you know, in the.
That's been Band-Aid.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you know, in a few years, I mean, and these are all, as we all know, you know, they're not hundreds of thousands of dollars. They all had $1 million price tags, you know, kind of.
The courthouse as well.
Right. So,
When they talk about, I read someplace, whether it was from our office or something about, we've earmarked $2.2 million for the roof at Wharton Elementary School.
That's
Did I
right,
read
that's
that?
the estimate that's on the table right now.
And because it is still part of the school, that they would pay for half of that.
The IAC, you mean, or the state?
The state
Who's
would.
they? I have to look into, we're in the process of looking at that.
I mean, they do,
I'm not-
if all of our capital projects in the past have been a 50-50 split, so I assume they'll pay for half of it.
I
They would
think
pay
I
for-
have to research because
Yes.
I don't know, since there's not full occupancy of children there, you know, that may be a complicator, but I will.
Yeah, I don't know whether it would matter, whether it makes a difference or not. You got,
Hopefully it doesn't, but
Yeah.
it may. Just,
Yeah, it
yeah.
could.
Or maybe even, you know, it has to be used continually for school
yeah, I mean, I
purposes.
know that was part of the reason why the
That
school
might be a
board moved,
problem,
you know.
but I don't
well, and
know.
you still
I think
got,
it-
you
check
buses,
that.
bus people use it,
Right.
which is part of the school.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pat, do you remember?
I
what-
agree, it's part of our
When the
system.
renovations were done
State
to where the
qualifies.
current Board of Education is, was any of that picked up by the state? When the Board of Ed moved into that building?
I don't believe so, but I'm not 100% sure.
Now, I thought that that's
For some
exactly
reason, I
why,
don't think there was, because I remember thinking we didn't save any money doing that.
Yeah.
I wasn't on the board then.
I thought that was why they moved down there, though, is because the state was going to make the school board.
Pay the
Pay the-
debt
We
service.
would have to pay the debt
Yeah,
service back.
Yeah,
But on previous
Yeah.
money spent, not the renovation to move the Board of Ed in.
I think we had just put in several $1 million.
Right, that's
for
what I'm
roof
saying,
or
yes,
HVAC.
that's correct,
That's
yes,
what, the
yes.
geothermal,
Yes.
right?
And so they didn't make us pay that back because the Board of Education went in there.
Right,
We're
right.
still being used for school purposes.
Right.
But the renovations to convert it into the Board of Ed building,
I think
Yeah,
it was
so
on
that
our, was
wasn't
on
I
our
think
dime.
that was on our
Yeah.
dime.
that's my recollection
Renovation
too.
to convert it to the school board, that wasn't on that one.
Cheap.
$500,000.
And I
You
mean,
mean in
at the
school
time we file the
properties?
next
Yeah, that's
CIP
what it was.
is what.
It was a $500,000.
October, that's
So
what-
you would get an answer
Right.
on whether they would contribute to the roof in October with that document?
Well, so, I mean, I'm going to just add that, you know, so you're going to meet, you're going to have your meeting, and then, what is our next step? I'm going to
Thank you
ask
for
it
asking.
before I'm going to be asked. I mean, you know, what is,
Yeah.
I mean, I think moving forward, you know, if we can get some sort of a funding, but bare minimum, I don't think we can do anything until the state cuts the check for that $8 million. And, it's supposed to be there, but we don't know whether it'll be there until the end of legislation.
Right,
Probably.
it's still part of the process.
Right.
It's been approved by
I mean, bare minimum, I think that
legislature.
this whole project hinges on that 8 million to get started. That's me, that's my opinion, that's just me talking here. I'm one person here. But,
Yeah, but that 8 million is, you're assuming you're gonna be responsible for the other 30.
well, that's correct, right, yes. But that 8 million, 30 million, then we can figure out what kind of money we want to pull out of, or the general fund for, fund balance, I'm sorry, for, general fund balance for, the down payment and stuff like that, but.
So 80/20 gets you approximately a bill of 13 million.
Right, that's right.
It's a lot better than 47 million.
But that's, I think, moving forward, just so you guys, you all have to play, I understand, you all have to plan and figure out, see what your next step is. But I don't think that I'm willing to commit anything until we know that that 8 million is in the bank.
And that will be, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, but we will have a final answer on that by the end of the session, correct? The 2026
That's
session?
my understanding.
That's
my
what they're saying,
understanding.
right, that's everybody's understanding, so.
Right.
It is there committed.
It seems pretty promising, but it's just not there yet, but it seems promising.
It's my understanding the legislature has approved it, but now the governor has to approve it. Is that your?
That's my
I think-
understanding as well.
I think we're,
That's just my opinion for you guys. I'm just one person, but, again, I think we all, what I have learned sitting in this seat is sometimes, things in government do take longer than they do in the private world. And that's probably a really good thing, until it comes to something like this, when we're trying to plan ahead. I think that, we need to start figuring out and coming up with a plan on our end where we can save some money, throughout whatever we have to do, whatever we can do, to save money, with moving offices and trying to.
And none of that's gonna be a quick savings.
No.
Because you gotta put money out to make the places presentable
Right,
for the people
right.
you're gonna put in it.
Right.
And it's,
Yeah.
if any, none of it's simple. If it
No,
was
that's,
simple, we'd be.
well,
doing
that's
it.
what, exactly right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. But I know the board, I respect the position that the school board's in. They, at your meetings from now until the end of April, or March, you're gonna be, we need the new middle school, and we're telling you, we need more funding.
I think you've got some deadlines coming up. If I remember, you were gonna have something available by the end, or by the middle of August.
the design.
Yeah, we are wrapping up the design, and I wanted to have the Stadium Authority and Dr. Lever come and give you an update on where we are with that, so that you can see exactly where we are. Once that wraps up, we pretty much have the blueprints, and if we were to stay on schedule, which of course I want to, but I understand all that we're discussing here, to stay on schedule, we need to go to bid for materials like in October, November to get the best price, right? Because if we go to bid for materials in the spring, it's going to be a premium cost. So just so that everyone's aware of kind of delaying, it also increases cost. So I know we're delaying.
Well, it doesn't
not
cost
going-
anything to estimate.
Well, you're right, but,
It doesn't cost a thing to get an estimate.
and that's
So we
what
can-
we'll have.
Yeah.
So Dr. Lever and the Stadium Authority will have all that for you in their presentation. I think I was going to try for August, but I think with vacation schedules, September. And so that will be finished, so you can see where we are with it. And I totally understand it. This is a community matter, right? We've got lots of pieces to the community here that we need to figure out.
You're exactly
You know,
right.
so I just,
Yeah.
I certainly,
And we understand your,
Yeah,
I understand your
right, that's my
position too.
job.
I do, I
Right.
understand, and I've done some
Yeah.
reflecting here the last couple of weeks. The school board has one job to do.
Right.
And I appreciate, because it took me a minute. And I said, yeah, but, our job is a little more complex. Not that you all don't care about it, but, I mean,
Sure.
it's, we have a little more, outlying areas that we have to deal with.
I understand.
Not that the school system isn't probably the top priority for each and every one of us up here. And I said when I was elected, there's two things that makes a community, and that's feeling safe in your home, public safety, and the school system. And I think that most people would probably say that, so.
Well,
And
I
now-
appreciate that we're still in the conversation here, right? Because the conversation is not stopped. And that says to me, as someone who's been here just a little over a year, that we're determined to figure it out. And that's what
Right.
we do as leaders, right? Leaders don't say it's too hard, we're not going to do it.
Well, I
Leaders
think that
figure out
that's
how to
a good
do
way to
it,
put it.
how to
That
make
really
it
is a
happen.
good way to put it.
So I appreciate that we're still in the conversation. I think it matters for the community. I think it sends a message to the community about, we are investing in all the projects that you have. I mean, it's not that one is more important than the other. It's just a matter of what's the order and when and how, so.
Well, thank you very much for coming in and talking with us.
Of course, always.
Thank you.
Thanks
Yeah,
for giving me a target.
I do believe that having these financial numbers available to us is gonna help us decide, help us make a decision at some point. Obviously, we want to try to grab whatever funding we can grab, or help from the state that we can get. But in looking at this myself, and I'm not suggesting that we even move on anything tonight, but I am hopeful that we're going to be able to make this happen without any burden to the taxpayers.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Back
It's
to,
easy.
I think it is easy. I'm just,
You gotta watch your question.
yeah, I'm just following up on the door you opened the last time we met, and then you referenced it tonight, the letter that you were going to send. A couple questions. Whose actually is the letter going to?
Well, we've talked about casting the net wide and far, the speaker, the
So we're
president.
talking legislators and not, because that's where it's coming from. We're not talking about State Department of Education or anything like that, right?
That hasn't been part of our
Okay, well, I'm
discussion.
just thinking, they don't have anything to do with the
legislature.
the
Right.
thing, okay.
Right.
And I thought Mr. Price had said September. He was thinking that was when the letter might go. Are you still, do you have a time frame of when that might happen?
So I have the outline of the letter.
Okay.
I really needed this piece of information because I think it's a linchpin in this whole conversation. So I have numbers now, and we'll finish up the letter and get it out the door.
Just for clarity on my part, is the collective we, are the collective you guys saying it's one or the other? Are you writing to the state legislators to say that in order for us to be able to fund our middle school, we can't fund the blueprint? Are you saying it's one or the other? Or I was listening to Mr. Price, it sounded like he was trying to look for a way to do both. I thought I remembered Mr. Yeager 2 weeks ago, either he said it or you reminded him, the fact that the blueprint's a law sort of kind of ties us in a way that, despite what Mr. Nickerson said, I don't know that we can say no, because I feel like every other school district will be right behind us. I don't think the state wants a palace coup there. So I don't know. I'm just trying to get a feel of where the letter would go, and I know it's an effort to get any bit more of funding that we can get, but I just wondered if you're saying it's either or.
So the last time this conversation happened, basically, the sentiment was we were putting the state on notice that it could be an either or.
Okay.
In light of this conversation tonight, I'm not sure if that has changed or not.
I think, I'll speak for myself, I think the letter should be that we're in we find ourselves in a situation that is either or, without some additional funding, at the state level.
I feel
You know,
like
I always,
that's a possibility.
whenever
We don't have to be an either or, if they could help us a little bit.
no, I always look for, or try to think about ways to do more with nothing. And I did that when I was sheriff, and I probably will do it for the rest of my life. Try to come up with innovative ways of trying to make something work, trying to accomplish your objectives or your goals without funding or resources. And I guess that's part of my law enforcement days, but because in those days you just got to make it happen, and you got to figure out how to make it happen without coming here asking the former Board of Commissioners for additional funding, which would have made it very easy, but life's not easy. I think this letter should really spell it out, I'm just speaking for myself, that we have to make a choice here. We have a school that needs to be replaced. It's 80-some years old. My father went there. He died when he was 86, and he's been gone 2.5 years. So I know it's at least 88 years old, because that was his high school. Some of the bones of the school might very well be okay, but you can't tell me that there's not an air quality issue within that school, because I think it is. We have a lot of air quality issues in a lot of our government buildings. I know that the school does testing to make sure it's at a safe level, but I think we can do better than that. And I think the state should be doing better. So I think the letter should definitely indicate that we may have to draw a line in the sand. Whether we do or not, that's a whole different story. But we need to do something to get somebody's attention. And if the other counties want to jump on board, that's even better. That's my opinion.
No, I think that's where I'm at. I really would like to get their attention, hopefully.
I think the letter's way overdue, to be honest with you. I mean, we can't continue to deal with the mandates that are handed down every year. The state gets in financial trouble, they send it down to us. This year, we probably took in another $400,000 or $500,000 worth of stuff that we didn't have to pay for the year before, that they've sent down to us. Plus, they mandate this. We wouldn't be begging for or asking for nothing if it wasn't for the blueprint and these mandates that they hand down, and we constantly do it. I forget, there's a request. I saw a request from some agency in the county.
Extension office.
Huh?
Extension office.
The extension of it, because of the cut
That's a state.
being made on the federal level. Well, there's got to come a time when, we can't take up the slack for every time the state or the federal government sends a mandate down. We just can't be replacing it. We're going to find ourselves in a deeper hole than we're in now. But a letter that points out the fact that these mandates and the blueprint and everything is causing us a great deal of harm because now we're unable to do the things that our people really need. I mean, it's just that simple.
And if we were to do,
Excuse me, but I wouldn't hesitate to send it to the Department of Education. They're the ones that's asking for, they're the ones promoting it, especially the blueprint. I mean, that's where, I think everybody should know that it's causing a lot of problems, especially, well, it's causing us a problem, and I'm sure it is a lot of other counties, but
I think we should send it to anybody that is willing to listen and CC, and this is pretty bold, CC every county on the letter. So other counties see what Kent County's doing. And maybe they might take a hint. But
I don't think that that's bold. I think that that's just the situation that Kent County's in. And I think that the other counties, you know,
if they choose to,
I mean, some of the counties, like Somerset's not gonna be in this position because they don't pay nothing for a school. It's free.
and our blueprint costs, I
Anybody
don't
that
think it's
can
as high either.
explain that and tell me that that's fair.
Much different than ours.
I was with a board of commissioners one time. We went to Baltimore to the State Board of Education over there and tried to talk to them about it. They said the same thing that the people in Annapolis tell us today. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk to you about anything you want to talk about except the wealth formula. We won't talk about that. And my feelings is the reason we won't talk about it is because they can't justify it.
So if we took Pat's numbers, it looks like that there is money to build a school. The problem is when you look at the blueprint and only having $3.3 million projected for next year, and we know the blueprint's gonna be 2.5 million, that would leave us $800,000 for the rest of the county operations. That's barely enough
And that.
to give everyone a pay raise, let alone operations. You just can't do
Even
it.
that, then you're not even, you're saying as long as the state don't send more mandates down.
Right.
And I wouldn't bet on
No, I
that,
wouldn't.
because their finances are a lot worse than ours. Anyhow, thank you very much. I think we beat this to death, but as far as I'm concerned, we're right back to the same square, is that, other than the 80-20, we got that number, but the bottom line is the blueprint and the new school make it awful tough for us to be able to do. So something's got to give.
Okay.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But like you said, we're still talking about it.
That's right, that's right. We haven't given up yet, so
Yeah.
we're still figuring our way forward. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. John, you or Mike got anything you want to say?
May I?
do, as long as Mary and Pat Trish stay here. I do have something to say, yeah.
Before we move into public
Wait,
comment.
just a second then.
Okay, I just want to make an announcement that the next meeting is August 19th, and it has been moved from 6 PM to 10 AM. So while that is usually an evening meeting, that is going to be a day meeting on August 19th.
Very good.
And before, I think I had this pumped up here, maybe somebody else has got the email a little better. But we got an email this week from Dan Matson about two of our employees.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let me see if I can read it. It says, just making you aware that two of our employees in the wastewater division, Water and Wastewater Division, recently received recognition that was included in the Maryland Current magazine, published by the Maryland Rural Water Association. I believe, I just.
Yeah, two of our operators
Yes.
were recognized.
Yep.
Eric Thesson,
Eric,
who
yep.
has recently joined the county, and Kim Middleton, who is our chief operator and our only female water
Yep.
wastewater operator. And Kim was recognized in the Women in Water feature. So that's very commendable to both of
Absolutely. I
those
just thought that we
employees.
should-
Kim is a very senior
Yep.
member of our staff, and
Right.
Eric is a newer
Yep.
member, so we're very proud of both of them.
Absolutely. Thank you for clarifying.
No worries. And thank you for bringing that up. That is definitely noteworthy.
All right. Mike, you wanted to say something?
John, you got something to say? Bonnie, I guess I need to come up to here.
Mike's a tough act to follow.
But I'm going to sit on this side, so I'm addressing everybody. From an organizational standpoint, this is fragmented. You're fragmented. From an organizational situation, I've never seen a more fragmented process here. You've got the Board of Education, you got Mary, and you got you guys. There is a certain myopic look that we need to school, and that we also have a myopic look that it's going to be tough to fund. And there needs to be some kind of middle ground here. There needs to be an organizational chart where you say, okay, here's the school, we need the school. Here's the funding, here's the funding. What are our alternatives in case we don't get the funding? What do we have? And you've been talking about it, but it's not an organizational chart. So you have the Wharton School, you move kids there. There needs to be, for both sides, an organizational chart showing all of the alternatives that you've got here. Building the school, the process of funding, and everything in the middle, so that everybody has a clear picture. You're bringing up stuff, they're bringing up stuff, but there needs to be something that everybody is looking at so that you're following some sort of a plan here. I don't see a plan. I hear things, but I don't hear any solid alternatives that we say, okay, if this doesn't happen, then we're going to do this. If this doesn't happen, then we've got this. So there needs to be some organizational chart here. The second thing is that we're talking about a 30-year bond, and right now we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 5 years out. But this is a 30-year bond. And most people don't even know how the bond market works. There are upfront costs, are there not? You were probably involved in bond issues over on the other side of the pond, weren't you?
Actually, I was not. I was in
You were not?
construction.
Okay,
And the upfront costs get built into the long-term debt.
I'm sorry.
The upfront costs get built into the long-term debt.
Exactly. How many millions of dollars is that? Because you need lawyers, you need somebody to present the bond to the bond market. Pat said
It's a couple $100,000
I
tops.
think our last quote was under 100, it was right.
But yeah, that's what I was,
For an FA to handle it for us.
yep.
That's all?
That was our last quote, yes.
And the 5% interest rate, how rock solid is that?
Today, it's in the ballpark what it'll be like when we go to the bond market, we have no idea.
Wait, exactly.
Could be higher.
Well, but any business, Mike, any business, you don't know if you're a year out.
Exactly.
Any business. I mean, you can't blame
I
us
agree
or
with
them
that.
for that. But you can't blame us or them for that.
No, I'm not
We're all
blaming
just-
anybody. What I want to see, personally, I'm sitting back and I'm saying, I need to see organizational chart here. Okay, I'm OCD. Sorry about that. If anybody hasn't figured that out yet.
Is that what they call
it? So I need to have patterns and I need to have pathways. And we're talking about funding here.
But you're also talking about two different entities. The school board is an entity and the board of commissioners is
Right.
an entity. And there are rules and regulations of where we can and can't converge and talk about stuff. And we'd have to have, and maybe this is what we have to do, but we'd have to have a whole separate groups of meetings open to the public to be able to do what you're talking about doing. the school board has brought to us their plan. That was the plan presented to us. There's been different options of how we get there. Maybe there's some deviation from the plan, but they've moved forward, and we've moved forward with them on trying to get the middle school. I mean, that's where we were at. I think that's where we've been at. I think that's where we're at up until now, and we're trying to, the whole time, we're trying to get funding. Unfortunately, that has not come to fruition. So, I mean, I think that maybe it's a little bit more organized than what you're, putting out here to
Maybe
the
it
public.
is. Maybe it is.
So,
I'm just an observer here.
Right.
You know? And I'm trying to figure out, I don't know what I don't know.
no, well,
Basically.
and I think we don't either. I mean, honestly, that's a good way to put it.
So
That's a good
I'm
way
trying to figure out, okay, here's this, here's this,
Right.
here's this, here's here. And I just, so that there's a picture that everybody sees. And if there's some,
I think they would like to have it and we would like to have it. It's just so many things out there that are unanswered questions. I mean, and we write a letter and we get an answer 4 months from now, probably not what we want to hear.
If you even
If we even get one, if we even get a response, for God's sake.
well, okay, I'm gonna shift gears here, and so I've expressed that. In terms of that, maybe the lobbyists that we have, right, they have good communication, they have good contacts, let them know what we're planning here, and that we need to have you guys need to have an audience with Barnes and Gazone, and Ferguson and Jones if you can get it. But at the very, very minimum, Barnes, who has, if this was a desk drawer, he's kept that legislation in his bottom drawer for
Yeah.
three sessions,
Yeah.
right? And so we went from, round numbers here, we went from 5 to 95 to 1090 to 1585, and now we're at 2080. And if they ever get wind of the fact that we think we can afford this, you won't get squat.
I don't know how they'd have to figure that out.
I was gonna say, we just had a public meeting and it was kind of spelled out. I mean, there's no secret there.
Right.
Tomorrow morning, there are gonna be people in the community that are gonna say, you know what? I think they can afford this. So,
Yeah, But we can't afford both. I know. And it bothers me that Jeff Grist and Karen thought that this was in the bag when it was round numbers 595, And then Jeff sat there and said, I've got this. I presume that we're going to have legislation for the next General Assembly session, for the 2026 General Assembly session. I haven't heard anything yet, but I presume Jeff is still going to present some more legislation that's going to ask for this. We need to prime the pump, my words, prime the pump beforehand. This is August, September, October, November, December. We got 4 months before the General Assembly in order to prime the pump to get to these guys so that Barnes doesn't stuff this in his desk drawer and that he won't take it out.
As I recall, wasn't Jeff in Annapolis doing some lobbying for that exact thing? The day of
100%.
our meeting together?
100%.
Yes.
Yes. So I know Delegate Bryce is still actively working. That's all part of working with the IAC. In my opinion, they're not going to change the formula. That's why we got the pre-approval. I'm not saying there's not a chance that we, lobby to try to get additional grant funds. They're not changing that state formula. But the pre-approval is essentially a state grant. And that's where, if there's legislation, in my opinion, we need not put forward the same legislation that got shut down twice.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of, if we put forward legislation, it needs to be along the lines of requesting additional grant funds from the Build to Learn funding source, which is not the state operating budget. But Delegate Rice is very involved with that, and that's part of why we're organizing to meet, and we're trying to meet with.
I'd just add too that I think Jeff Grace done a yeoman's job
He
in
has.
trying to
Without a
get,
doubt.
trying to get this taken care of.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Definitely gone to bat for
Yes.
Kent County.
And when he testified, he'd done an absolute bang-up job.
I agree.
All right, look, we've talked school. John, what do you got? What, did you,
I do have a question.
help
but
yourself?
it's Totally different stuff.
All right.
John, do you mind stepping up to the mic? I'm gonna put you in the limelight.
Boy, he's got a new hairdo.
I see that. I see that.
He's got one hair going one way and one going the
Yeah, John Massey, 100 East Campus Avenue, Tuttletown, Maryland. With the wastewater plant in Millington, tonight they're going to break down the old plant that's on the Queen Anne's County side
Right.
and make it a pumping station and get it to the new plant. What, are you going to have to run a pipe up Cypress, or
Do what?
are you going to have to place new facilities up between the two?
I would imagine there would be another pumping station. Yes.
Yes, and they're gonna be able to reuse a lot of the collection system as it is, but then there will, and the design is 90% complete
Right.
right now.
Okay, because didn't the state just spend a lot of money on Cypress Street redoing, because they cut all the trees down, put new sidewalks and repaved, and that was probably some kind of grant money that,
I
like,
think, yeah, they're
But I think we're gonna be well this side of
Right.
all of that.
Okay.
All those improvements, we're way
be on
out.
the other side.
We're out of
Okay,
town,
no, just
actually.
when I heard
Yeah,
that, made me wonder.
right.
Because I remember when the state went through and cut all the trees down on Cypress Street.
gotcha.
Yeah, and put a lot of money in that. I didn't want the state to come say, oh, you tore up all their work, now you owe us this much more. But hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Because we're asking them for more.
And one more question. On the school, the total price of the school, the 60-some million or whatever,
64,
Yeah, 64.
is that just the building, or does that include new furnishings, desks and athletic
It
mats?
includes furniture, furnishings, bond contingencies, construction direct, A&E fee, construction management fee. So I think that about sums
So it's
it up.
not just, here's the building now, you get to put all the, spend a few more $1 million filling it up with desks and gym mats and cafeterias.
Well, and it's rough. I mean, it's a good estimate, obviously, but it's all, very few things come in on budget.
I understand
There's
that,
always
too.
some-
Okay,
All right.
that's all I had.
If nothing else,
Well, before we adjourn, we're not gonna have a meeting next week because of Mako.
Correct.
And so at the following meeting, there were some things put out here tonight that I feel we should maybe plan to discuss at the very next meeting. One has to do with personnel, and maybe we would need a closed session for that to talk about the incentive package, if in fact we think that's the right thing to do for the retirees. And at some point, we need to start thinking about what Albert brought up about the office rent and have a discussion about that.
about what?
office rent.
Office rent.
Locating some of
I
these.
definitely think
spaces.
that is partially contingent
It is.
upon the collaboration with the schools.
But those things shouldn't be lost in the bigger picture there. I mean,
Right.
because there are things that provide substantial cost savings that need to be discussed.
Anything else?
Nope.
Then I'll entertain a motion to adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.